The Mavic Pro has been out for over a year and I've been lucky enough to own one for about 6 months now. Recently though, the Air was released and I've personally been wondering if it's worth upgrading from the Pro to the Air, or if you're a new drone owner, which one of the two should you get? Well, I've got a Pro and an Air here, and I'm going to be showing you the difference between the two that you might not have read online before. So let's roll that intro and let's get into it. The Mavic Pro and Mavic Air are both capable of taking some amazing footage, and with so many similar specs, it's no wonder. 4K camera up to 30 frames per second or 1080 up to 60 frames, a 3-axis gimbal for steady footage, a number of intelligent flight modes and quick shot modes, plus more. But they do differ in a few ways. Most notably the size difference, then there's the shorter battery life, the addition of rear sensors, the shifts from the Pro's OcuSync communication system to Wi-Fi only, and of course the 100 megabits per second recording size. But there's also some other important differences that you probably haven't heard of yet. So let's start with the memory. Previously the Pro came with a 16GB micro SD card, which was a great inclusion, but it also meant you could use that card in other devices and forget to put them back in the Mavic. Now the Air has internal storage, and when that fills up, it switches over to the card automatically and continues the recording on there, which is perfect. You just have to remember that when you're transferring your footage back to your computer, don't freak out because you can't find it, it's just going to be on the drone itself. Also on that note, the Air has changed from a mini USB port to a USB-C connection, which is great, and the port and SD card slot are now located at the back of the drone with a fold down flap, which is much easier to get to than the Pro's awkwardly positioned flaps that you had to fold the wings out to get to. Secondly, the Air now comes with a different remote to what the Pro does. So where the Pro came with a great remote before, which had an LCD screen showing your core stats, like your height and distance, GPS antennas, the Air now comes with a bit of a step backwards in the remote. As you can see, it has the same form size, but it no longer has a screen on it. At the back too, the rear programmable buttons that the Pro has, which you could use to set for different functions, have been removed on the Air's remote, and instead one button has been moved over to where the second scroll wheel on the Pro was. So in the end, one button has been removed and one scroll wheel has also been removed. Now what I've always never liked on the Pro remote was the fact that these sticks always stuck out, and I was forever worried I would damage them in my backpack if they get snagged on something and bent while in transport. They've now fixed that on the Air remote in quite an ingenious way, so that now the sticks are tucked away on the inside of the remote and you just take them out and screw them into the controller when in use. This makes it so much more portable and minimises the risk for damage, and means I can just throw it into my bag and not worry about it. And if you're worried that you might lose these two little sticks, don't worry because the Air comes with 2 spares anyway. The Air is also a little bit quicker to set up due to a change in the propellers and gimbal design. With the Pro you'd fold out the 4 arms and then fold out the 8 propellers. Now with the Air, the propellers aren't foldable, so you just fold the arms out and fold out the 2 new landing gears. Simple. Gimbal wise, on the Pro you have the gimbal cover and the gimbal clamp that you would have to detach. And there's 2 things here that I've never really agreed with. One, these pieces look like cheap plastic that are meant to be thrown out when you first unbox the product. Secondly, because the cover is clear, sometimes you forget to take it off and you end up flying up in the air with it, creating a lens flare in your recordings, and you don't realise till you get home. Now the Air has one piece you unclip, which is tinted so you know it's there and you don't accidentally leave it, and it looks a lot more professional and it comes off in one quick take. And if you haven't seen my previous video before, check it out in the above link or the description below, where I give reasons why I think the Fly More combo for the Pro is a little bit of money that could be better spent elsewhere. But in this case, I actually think the Fly More on the Air is great value, and this comes down to great design. Now if you don't get the Fly More, don't worry, because the Air now comes with this cool little zipper case which the Pro never came with. It fits your Air obviously, and on the back you can actually turn it over and you can slot your remote into this mesh sleeve. But if you get the Fly More, you'll still get this, but you'll also get a great fabric carry bag, which you can sling over your shoulder, pack into another bigger bag, or carry by hand. Now on the inside, it fits the remote and the Air, but underneath you have slots for the 2 included batteries, with the 3rd being in the Air already, and a spare slot, which I've been using for filters, and a larger slot for the charging base plus charging cable. Then on the outside, there's an open slot on one side and a zip on the other, so you could use these to store your phone and your sunnies. All in all though, there's 2 questions here. Number 1, if you've got a Mavic Pro already, should you upgrade to the Air? And number 2, if you're buying a Mavic for the first time, which one of them should you get? Well, if you already own the Pro, I can't honestly recommend swapping over to the Air. Flying both of them, I honestly couldn't tell much of a difference between the two of them, or at least not enough to warrant swapping over. Plus there's a few features the Pro has which outweighs the Air. But if it's your first Mavic, maybe you're upgrading from the Spark, or maybe it's your first drone altogether, I would recommend going for the Air. And this is because the Air is cheaper than the Pro, and you can even pick up the Fly More combo for the Air cheaper than buying the Pro by itself. So there you have it everyone, a few smaller differences between these two drones that you might not have known about. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below letting me know which one you'll be purchasing or which one you will not be purchasing. And if you have any questions, don't forget to ask as well. As always, it's good to see you again, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and until next time, happy flying.